Nuclear power plants in the area of the New Madrid seismic zone. Could a Fukushima happen in the United States? Well, with all the recent activity that we've had, we will see that the power plant near Los Angeles will be closing down. The other one near Salton Buttes of California is closed down. But most of the ones that are active are in the New Madrid seismic zone, as we can see from the map here. And of course, with all these nuclear power plants in an area of seismicity, we tend to think of what happened a little while back with Japan and Fukushima. How many nuclear reactors are there in the United States, and how many sit along the area of the New Madrid seismic zone? Greenpeace published maps, and a person commented that there are 104 nuclear power plants in the US, not 63, as some blog says. And this could be quite confusing, because some facilities have multiple reactors. Maybe that's why they counted them as more, but numbers still do not add up. So we could be a little bit confused by all this. When we examine lists of various reports at government and NGO websites, we find that as of March 2011, there are 65 operating nuclear power facilities in the US. Each facility has from 1 to 3 reactors for a total of 104. So there you go. The number does not account for those reactors that are decommissioned, reactors at research and university facilities, or all of the nuclear waste at various locations around the United States. Let's not forget the nuclear waste. Now, how many nuclear reactors are there in the United States? As we said, just about 104, counting them all together. Some having more than 3, as many as 3. So if we're looking at spreadsheets as to several types of nuclear-related facilities besides nuclear power plants, we'll have to go into, I'm not going to go into that here. As of March 2011, there are 65 operating nuclear power facilities in the United States, each facility from 1 to 3 reactors for a total of 104. The number does not account for those reactors that are decommissioned, reactors at research and university facilities, or all of the nuclear waste at various locations around the United States. I see that we have 3 in Florida. We have 2 in Texas. We have, I don't know how many. Most of them are basically around the New Madrid seismic zone, the Appalachian areas, and the Real Foot Rift zone, all the way up to, of course, New York State. We have a couple, of course, north of Missouri, under the Great Lakes. And this is an area, as you can see from the map, that is seismic. Now going into something else that I found concerning the exercise preparedness that agencies have held, FEMA has held, in the spring of 2019. It's called Shaken Fury 2019. It was an exercise to prepare the agencies for massive New Madrid earthquakes. And the communities in New Madrid seismic zone, including far west Kentucky, conducted the exercise to prepare for a next sudden massive earthquake should one occur. And they had to test their responses and recovery efforts for a scenario involving a no-notice 7.7 magnitude earthquake at the southern end of the fault near Memphis, Tennessee. The exercise involved an earthquake striking along Cottonwood Grove Fault. The scenario would have affected Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, and Tennessee. And the exercise began, it ran for the week, and with one in Callaway County. Now, according to the information sheets by FEMA, the objectives were to establish information sharing practices to demonstrate state, local, and federal response efforts, real-time field reports capabilities, validate aid resource planning and tracking capabilities, and other capabilities. And the managing director, Bill Cole, said that the last killer New Madrid earthquake was more than 200 years ago, around 1812. He said that while there was not a lot of population in that area at that time, that's not so. This today, of course, has a very populated area. According to USGS, those series of earthquakes were in the 7 magnitude range. He says if we had to repeat that, it would be devastating. He also noted that a 5.3 magnitude New Madrid quake in the 1960s had damaged buildings, but did not see loss of life, but damaged buildings. Now, as for a 7.7 magnitude earthquake, he says your masonry chimneys would be down, buildings, unless they're designed to be earthquake resistant that are more than a couple of stories, would probably have quite a bit of brick and masonry damage. You might even have a few collapsed buildings of the older types. And he explains this: the soil is prone to what's called liquefaction in this area of the country. It just shakes like water. Liquefaction, think the ground becoming like quicksand. He said counties that border the Mississippi and Ohio rivers are expected to suffer from that in a major quake. Structures in those areas could expect quite a bit of damage. And he went on to say, so we'd be looking at how to move people from damaged or destroyed areas to shelter and other areas. Some of the other counties would have to look at total evacuation of the survivors, that would be tougher to do for them. Now, in this scenario, however, they did not include anything having to do with a problem of a leakage or a radiation contamination or something having to do with what happened, for example, in Fukushima in 2011. After the triple whammy of the earthquake, tsunami, and radiation leak. So these preparedness exercises that they have taken on to do, which are of course important, have nothing to do with the number of most of the U.S. nuclear power plants that sit on this area would be affected because of the very soft ground, the liquefaction that takes place, and the preparedness exercises don't take this into account whatsoever, and that's frightening for me. So that's the situation here. Most of the U.S. nuclear power plants are in fact in this area. That's has been now claimed by the USGS as turning active for some reason. As we said, it's over 200 years that they had a major earthquake there. I'll leave links below for you for this. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.